Hi, welcome to my YouTube watercolour channel. I'm Karen Rice. I'm going to be painting a step-by-step fun sketchbook Christmas card of winter trees, and it's a landscape watercolour tutorial. I'm going to be doing lots of techniques, spattering, reserving lights using masking fluid, wet in wet, wet on dry, sgraffito and dry brush technique. And here are the list of materials I'm going to be using: my sketchbook, 3 round brushes, my plastic card, framing tape, masking fluid, water pot, kitchen towel and palette. And a full list of these materials and Amazon links can be found in the description below. I'm using 3 primary colours, indigo and white gouache. You can find alternatives in the description below. And here is the gorgeous reference photograph I'm going to be using in this tutorial, and a link for that can be found also in the description below. I'm going to use more colours in the sky though. I'm not going to copy this exactly, and I'm going to actually create a snow effect at the end using white paint. So, shall we get started? I've drawn my picture already with my HB pencil on my sketchbook, and I'm using masking fluid on the branches of the trees just to reserve the white paper, so it looks, when I take the masking fluid off, it'll look like snow. That's my hope anyway. So just put it on all the branches that are sort of not quite horizontal, but that look like they can carry a little bit of snow, and just let it dry naturally. Once your painting is dry, wet your sky area. As you can see on the right hand side there, I've mixed some phthalo blue, some ochre rose and some yellow ochre. And I'm starting off with the yellow ochre, and I'm painting it more down the horizon area. And I'm using my size 6 brush, and now I'm popping in a little bit of the ochre rose. And this technique is called wet in wet. And I'm just putting a little bit of that pink, just a touch, in the sky, and then using the phthalo blue and using my size 6 brush still and painting that wet in wet. I'm going to do the same for the snow itself, working wet and wet but using much paler colours. If you'd like to see longer tutorials with lots more tips and techniques, a lot more voiceover and a drawing template, why not think about joining my Patreon membership? Details about that can be found in the top right hand corner. I'm using my size 2 brush here just to paint those distant trees with the phthalo blue, really watered down so that it kind of recedes. And now what I'm doing is mixing up a little touch of yellow ochre with the phthalo blue, and I'm going to paint those trees to the left wet on dry. So I'm using the sgraffito technique here with my plastic card just to kind of scratch into the surface of the paper to reveal the sort of lighter tone underneath and the light of the paper as well. I'm painting the tree now. I've dried off my painting, so this is wet on dry, using my size 2 brush, and I'm using indigo, and I'm just going to paint all of the branches underneath the masking fluid and then the smaller branches using the tip of my brush. A good tip is to turn your painting upside down when you want to paint the other side of the trees. If you're right-handed, I find sometimes painting the left-hand side of the trees trickier, sort of the right way up. So sometimes I'll turn it upside down. And the same if you're left-handed and you want to paint the right-hand side of the trees, turn it the other way. It just makes it so much easier and stops you from smudging the paint as well. I'm using a dry brush technique using my size 2 brush with some very dried paint, and I wouldn't use your best brushes for this, you might spoil them, but it's quite a nice effective thing for doing the sort of very small twigs and brush on the tree. I'm painting the shadow under the tree now using the blue and the pink, very watered down, with my size 6 brush, wet on dry, and then softening the edges with some water. So make sure you give your painting a good blow dry before you remove your masking fluid, as I did there with my framing tape sticky side down. I'm using my size 2 brush with some indigo, and I'm just putting a little bit more detail on the branches. Just to give this a real Christmassy, wintry look, I'm using some white gouache, or you could use white watercolour or acrylics, and I'm spattering using my size 2 brush on this dry painting, and just, getting some bigger blobs, smaller blobs, whatever you fancy. Hold that brush firmly in your hand and give it a tap, and the paint should come off nicely. If it doesn't, it's probably too thick, so maybe just put a little bit more water in there and just have some fun. If you're not sure about it, maybe practice on a bit of rough paper first of all, and then have a go, and just let yourself go and enjoy it. Just removing the framing tape now to reveal a lovely white border, and I'm going to sign my painting and date it as well. I'm really pleased with it, and I really hope you enjoyed it and it's inspired you to maybe paint a winter landscape or an idea for a Christmas card, and get those sketchbooks out. If you enjoyed this tutorial and would like to see more like it, why not subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you'll get updates of my latest videos. If you have any questions about this tutorial, please put them in the comments section below, and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you again for watching. Happy painting. Bye for now.